1, 2, 3, δοκιμή.
Σε 1 λεπτό είμαστε έτοιμοι. Είμαστε έτοιμοι.
Καλησπέρα, να επαναλάβω ότι η διάλεξη θα είναι στην αγγλική γλώσσα, αλλά υπάρχει μετάφραση στα ελληνικά. Θα πρέπει να προμηθευτείτε, όσοι θέλετε να ακούσετε την ελληνική μετάφραση, τον ειδικό πομπό από τη γραμματεία, με μία ταυτότητα ή τα κλειδιά σας. Και επίσης, στα ελληνικά θα υπάρχει σε αυτή τη διαφάνεια. Γι' αυτό, αν μπορείτε, εσείς που είστε απομακρυσμένοι στα πάνω θεωρία, να έρθετε προς τα κάτω να βλέπετε εδώ πέρα την ελληνική μετάφραση στις διαφάνειες. Να επαναλάβω ότι η διάλεξη θα είναι στα αγγλικά, οπότε όποιος θέλει να ακούσει την μετάφραση στα ελληνικά μπορεί να προμηθευτεί τον ειδικό πομπό από τη γραμματεία έξω. Στο κανάλι 2 θα ακούγεται η ελληνική μετάφραση. Επίσης, όσοι θέλουν να βλέπουν τις διαφάνειες στην ελληνική γλώσσα, είναι εδώ πέρα, οπότε μπορεί να έρθετε προς τα κάτω να τα βλέπετε καλύτερα.
Μία διόρθωση από το control είναι το κανάλι 1. Το κανάλι 1.
Ναι. Ωραία. Καλησπέρα σε όλους. Σας καλωσορίζουμε απόψε. Professor Connet, may I have 2 minutes to speak in Greek? Okay. Χαιρόμαστε ιδιαίτερα που σας βλέπουμε απόψε. Αυτό δείχνει ότι υπάρχει ένας έντονος προβληματισμός σε μια μερίδα του κόσμου σχετικά με αυτό το κέριο θέμα της καύσης σκουπιδιών από την βιομηχανία που δραστηριοποιείται στην περιοχή μας. Αλλά επίσης οφείλεται και στο διακεκριμένο επιστήμονα που φιλοξενούμε απόψε, τον κύριο Paul Connet. Πριν όμως συστήσουμε τον καθηγητή, θα ήθελα να ευχαριστήσω θερμά το Πανεπιστήμιο Θεσσαλίας, ιδιαίτερα τον Πρίτανη και τους Αντιπριτάνης, οι οποίοι μας διέθεσαν το χώρο και το πρωί την αίθουσα Πριτανικού Συμβουλίου, όπου έγινε η συνέντευξη τύπου και η συζήτηση στο στρογγυλό τραπέζι, με φορείς της πόλης, που ελπίζουμε να οδηγήσει σε γόνιμα και επικοδομητικά συμπεράσματα. Θα ήθελα να ευχαριστήσω ιδιαίτερα τον τεχνικό μας, τον κύριο Οικονομίδη Κώστα, για την τεχνική υποστήριξη και ένα πολύ μεγάλο ευχαριστώ στην Εύα, που ανέλαβε αφιλοκερδώς να κάνει τη μετάφραση. Ένα πολύ δύσκολο έργο, την έχουμε από το πρωί. Και επίσης να ευχαριστήσω και όλα τα μέλη της Επιτροπής, με τα οποία συνεργαστήκαμε παραδειγματικά για να έχουμε το σημερινό αποτέλεσμα. Ενώσαμε όλοι τις ικανότητές μας, το κοινό μας όραμα για ένα καλύτερο περιβάλλον, άρα μια καλύτερη ζωή, πάνω και πέρα από κάθε προσωπικό συμφέρον. Να σας ενημερώσω επίσης ότι ο καθηγητής δεν μας επισκέπτεται αφιλοκερδώς, δίνει αυτή τη διάλεξη. Απλά εμείς ως Επιτροπή, ως πολίτες, του καλύπτουμε κάποια έξοδα, μεταφοράς, διατροφή, διαμονή. Οπότε έξω υπάρχει ένα κουτί οικονομικής ενίσχυσης. Κάθε συμβολή θα είναι σημαντική για μας. Ξεκινάμε όλοι μαζί. Θέλουμε όλο και περισσότερο κόσμο, όλο αυτή η δυναμική να μεγαλώνει. Και τι άλλο να πω. Επίσης, έχουμε έξω χαρτιά, όπου μπορεί όποιος δεν έχει υπογράψει να δηλώσει ενυπόγραφα την αντίδρασή του, την αντίρρησή του σε αυτό που πάει να γίνει, που ήδη έχει ξεκινήσει. Λοιπόν, ναι, εκτός από την υπογραφή, όποιος θέλει μπορεί να αφήνει και το email για ενημέρωση. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Το λόγο έχει ο...
Σε όσους έχουν πάρει τον δέκτη για την μετάφραση, για την ελληνική μετάφραση, θα βάλετε το ακουστικό και μετά το power θα πατήσετε το κανάλι 2. Στο κανάλι 2 θα υπάρχει η ελληνική μετάφραση. Επίσης, να σας αναφέρω ότι η Επιτροπή δεν σταματάει με τη σημερινή διάλεξη του καθηγητή. Συνεχίζουμε τον αγώνα μας και σας θέλουμε όλους να συμμετέχετε ενεργά. Αυτή την Τετάρτη που έρχεται, 7 η ώρα εδώ στο Πανεπιστήμιο, θα κάνουμε τη νέα μας συνέλευση ως Επιτροπή, η οποία είναι ανοιχτή σε όλους τους πολίτες. Θέλουμε νέες ιδέες να βοηθήσετε σε αυτόν τον αγώνα, γιατί αφορά όλους μας, την υγεία όλων μας και των παιδιών μας. So, Professor.
Μια μικρή διόρθωση, είναι το κανάλι 1. Είναι το κανάλι 1.
Διόρθωση, κανάλι 1 η μετάφραση.
Good evening. Thank you all for coming out this evening. And a special thank you for Eva, who has already worked hard to translate my presentation into Greek, and she will be translating tonight. It's very difficult for a translator. Normally, like in the United Nations, you have 2 translators. And they alternate every 20 minutes. But in this case, 1 translator for the whole evening. So it's hard work for Ava. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, tonight I'm going to explain why burning waste in cement kilns is not only bad for your town, but is also bad for the planet. The outline of my talk tonight First of all, I'll introduce myself. Secondly, I will give you the arguments against burning waste in cement kilns. Then, a few words about sustainability. And lastly, I'll talk about the alternative, the zero waste solution. But because we want to keep this to an hour, I won't have much time to talk about this. But there is a whole book here, which I'll leave with the organizers. And it will also be posted on the internet, that last section, the details of the zero waste solution. I received my undergraduate degree from Cambridge University in England in 1962, and my PhD in chemistry from Dartmouth College in the United States in 1983. I'm a retired professor of chemistry, and I specialized in environmental chemistry and toxicology. I've been involved in research into waste management now for 32 years and have helped communities without fee in 66 different countries, and Greece is country number 66. I have co-authored 6 papers on dioxin. I first got involved with waste in 1985 when they tried to build a trash or waste incinerator near my home in northern New York State. It took us 5.5 years to stop that incinerator, but we did. But meanwhile, other groups invited me to help them across the United States. And we formed a group called Work on Waste USA. And we helped citizens defeat approximately 300 incinerator proposals in the United States and Canada in that time. Only one trash incinerator has been built in the United States since 1997. In the United States, it's a dead industry. And since 1999, I've promoted zero waste. Especially in Italy, which I've now visited 78 times and spoken in 290 communities in Italy. And because I go to Italy a lot, it helps me to get to other countries like Greece. I go to Italy and then take a short flight from Italy to, in this case, to Greece. Short flight, but a dreadful bus journey. 4 hours. With my legs, this part of my leg is very long, and I don't know where to put it in a bus. I'm receiving no remuneration for this presentation in Volos, but I get paid in affection and appreciation. And eventually, when I keep going back to communities, I have a new set of friends. Thank you. So, I have two laws of pollution. The bad law. The bad law says that the level of pollution increases as the level of corruption increases. The more corrupt your community, the more polluted your community. The more corrupt your country, the more polluted your country. That obviously is the bad law. But we also have a good law. The good law says that the level of pollution comes down as the level of public participation goes up. And that's why it's so important that you are here tonight. You're part of that public participation, and thank you. Now, affecting change. A moment ago, I said that I'd helped communities stop 300 incinerators from being built. I didn't stop any of them. I can't. And this is why. Affecting change is like driving a nail through a piece of wood. The expert can sharpen the nail, but cannot push the nail through. You can't. but you need the hammer of public opinion to drive that nail home. That, again, is what you can do. I'm going to sharpen a lot of nails tonight, but you've got to use that information to educate your friends, educate your politicians that you, I hope, do not want this cement kiln burning waste. Another way of putting this is polite people get poisoned. I don't know if Ava, that's new for us. Polite people get poisoned, angry people get organized. And after you hear some of the things I have to say tonight, I think you will be angry. But use that anger to drive the nail home. Okay, so the second section then, arguments against burning waste in cement kilns. I'm opposed to the burning of waste in an incinerator, in a purposely built incinerator. But when you burn the waste in cement kilns, you are taking it out of the hands of professionals and putting it into the hands of amateurs. The cement industry are professionals at making cement, but they're not professionals at handling and burning waste. It's a very complicated business, burning waste safely. Cement kiln operators think in terms of tons. Tons, hundreds of thousands of tons of fuel, tons of clinker, and so on. But toxicologists working with dioxin think in terms of nanograms, picograms, even femtograms. So they think of clinker, we think of nanoparticles. It's two different worlds that we live in. And here are some of the units. So they're talking in terms of tons, 1,000 kilograms. That's what they used to, tons, tons. But we have to think in kilograms, milligrams, micrograms, nanograms, picograms, femtograms. Tiny, tiny amounts can do a lot of damage to human health. So the local picture. Let's look at the local picture. Incineration is not good for tourism. Now, when I look at this picture, I say, wow, you show that picture to a lot of people in the world, they'd like to go there. Wouldn't you? Look at the water, the sea, the bay, and the mountains. Beautiful. Now look at the rest of the picture. How many tourists would like to go there? No, it's an ugly, ugly picture there. And what about the people that live very close by? On both sides of the hill, you've got a lot of people living. That's a small farm, and they can see that incinerator down at the cement kiln down there. And the tourists would like the donkeys and yeah. Now, the reason it's not good for tourism is that incineration puts many highly toxic and persistent substances into the air. There they are. And here is a summary of those toxics. We have acid gases like hydrogen chloride, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, toxic metals like lead, cadmium, mercury, and so on. And then a whole set, hundreds of new compounds which for short we call dioxins. And dioxins are the most toxic substances that we've ever made in a chemical laboratory. And it astounded me in 1985, it astounded me to discover that simply by burning trash, even in your back garden, burning waste, trash, produces these incredibly toxic substances. Incineration is not good for agriculture. Grazing animals. Look at those sheep there. I'm going to come back and talk about the dangers that poses us. Now, the major concern about dioxins from incineration is dioxins accumulate in animal fat, in the grazing animals like cows, sheep, goats. When they munch the grass, they're collecting an enormous quantity of dioxin, which is falling on the grass. And one of the first things that I did in 1986 with my colleague, Tom Webster, we published a paper where we estimated how much more dioxin you would get from cow's milk than you would get from breathing the air. And what we found out is that 1 liter of cow's milk gives the equivalent amount of dioxin that you would get if you breathe the air next to the cow or the sheep or the goat for 8 months. 8 months of human breathing of dioxin in 1 liter of cow's milk. And then there's a study, later study done in Germany, where in 1 day a grazing cow puts as much dioxin into its body as a human being gets in 14 years of breathing. In 1 day. In 1 day, that cow is putting as much dioxin into its body as 14 years of human breathing. So in other words, these animals, these grazing animals, are like vacuum cleaners for dioxin. So it's important for citizens, when you see the chimney of the cement kiln or an incinerator, you think of, oh, the gases coming out will get distributed, diluted. By the time they come down to me, it'll be okay. But what people don't understand is that nature reconstitutes, reconcentrates the dioxin in grazing animals and in fish. You have a lake nearby, a few miles, a few kilometers away. That lake is another big catchment area for dioxin getting into fish. How, Ava, am I okay? The speed is okay. All right. Now, that's the first problem then. The animals collect the dioxin. Then the next problem is that when we eat the meat or drink the milk or eat the cheese, the dioxins, we can't get rid of them. The liver that normally converts fat-soluble substances in our body to water-soluble, which is good. If you can do that, then the kidney can excrete the dioxins from the body. They can excrete water-soluble, but they can't excrete fat-soluble. So if the liver doesn't convert from fat-soluble substance to water-soluble products, then they're stuck in the fat. And what happens for a man is that the dioxin in our body fat gets more and more concentrated as we get older. But the woman can get rid of dioxin. How? By having a baby. So the woman is concentrating the dioxin in her fat. As she eats the animal fat in milk and cheese and so on, the dioxins accumulate in her body, and then when she gets pregnant, for 9 months, the dioxin migrates from her fat to the fetus. And that's very, very serious. In other words, it is the fetus that gets the highest dose of dioxin of any human being. And then when the baby is born, when the mother breastfeeds, more dioxin goes to the baby. Why is that a problem? It's a problem because dioxins behave like hormones. They interfere with both fetal and infant development. Dioxins act like hormones. They disrupt male and female sex hormones, thyroid hormones, insulin, gastrin, and glucocorticoid. Therefore, dioxins interfere with the mental and sexual development of our babies. This is very serious. And there's a very important paper on this written by Linda Birnbaum, who is now head of the National Institute of Environmental health sciences in the United States. Very important person. And the whole book was written about this whole notion of endocrine disruption, hormone disruption. A book written about those chemicals which interfere with hormones. It was called Our Stolen Future. So one of the messages is we've got to try to keep dioxin out of our babies. And in 2003, the Institute of Medicine tried to think of ways that we could reduce exposure to dioxin. And this is what they wrote. Fetuses and breastfeeding infants may be at particular risk from exposure to dioxin-like compounds. Potential, because they have the potential to cause adverse neurodevelopmental, etc., problems. And this is what they recommended. The committee recommends that the government place a high public health priority on reducing dioxin intakes by girls and young women long before they become pregnant. Don't wait till you're pregnant to change your diet. Start early. And so they recommended that young girls substitute low-fat or skim milk for whole milk and foods lower in animal fat. Now that was advice for all young girls in the United States in 2003. That is pretty draconian. That's pretty to change or recommend changing the diet of half your population, young women. And I think it would be less draconian to say you can't build incinerators anymore, or you can't burn waste in cement kilns. That is less draconian than dramatically changing the diet of your population. So we want to get dioxin out of our food, which means that we do not want to have a source of dioxin close to where animals are grazing, which is exactly the case in Vodas. Around this incinerator, on both sides, you have animals concentrating dioxin, sheep, goats, and cows. And what about the olives? Dioxin is fat soluble. How much of the dioxin is going to get into the olives? And this is water. This is a spring from the mountain. It's collected there. And this apparently, I'm told, this water is going to go to the animals and possibly humans as well. Now, switch to mercury. As little as 1/3 of a gram of mercury can contaminate a 25-acre lake, that's 10 hectares, 10-hectare lake, to the point that a pregnant woman shouldn't eat the large fish. The mercury concentrates up the aquatic food chain. Now, these are, if you like, indirect threats. The dioxin goes into the food chain, and then we eat the food. That's an indirect threat. But we also have direct threats on human beings from what we breathe, the air that we breathe, and especially for children. So let me look at these pollutants one at a time. You can take the acid gases. The concern here for children is increasing respiratory problems. There is quite a number of papers which have shown increased asthmatic rates in young children living near incinerators. The second issue is toxic metals. The big problem with toxic metals is they are neurotoxic. They damage the brain. They interfere with mental development. So we're getting attacked from both ends here. The dioxin interferes with neurodevelopment, and the metals also interfere with the brain. Now, it's true that modern incinerators have reduced both toxic metal emissions and dioxin emissions. But the real problem with this industry, especially the cement industry, is there's no real accountability. There's no real scientific accountability. So here you need three things to protect the public from toxic emissions. You need strong regulations, one. Two, you need adequate monitoring. You've got to know what's coming out of the chimney. And thirdly, you need tough enforcement. You need the government to make sure that the laws are enforced. And if any one of those is weak, you are not protected. In actual fact, in Greece, all three are weak. All three are weak. The only people that can protect you are you. You are the only people that can protect your community from this toxic assault. Only you. Don't expect anybody else to come in and rescue you. The government is usually more interested in keeping industry running and keeping projects like this running. That's what they're interested in. Economics, jobs, that's all they're concerned about, not your health. I'm sad to say that. I wish it wasn't so. So let's start with the regulations. I would like to compare the regulations for cement kilns with incinerators. Regulations for dioxin and the other pollutants are about 5 to 6 times less stringent, more lax than incinerators. Why is that? Because the numbers look the same. If you're not careful, the numbers look the same. For example, the dioxin measurement, the dioxin regulation is the same for incinerators as cement kilns, 0.1 nanogram of dioxin per cubic meter. But here's the problem. By having the regulations as a concentration, they miss the fact that for each ton of waste burned, a cement kiln puts out about 5 times more gas than an incinerator, 5 times more gas. And you've got to, in terms of the total amount of dioxin that comes out, for each ton of waste that's burned, 5 times more dioxin will come out when you burn a ton of waste in a cement kiln compared to an incinerator. Incinerator puts out about 6,000 cubic meters of gas for every ton that's burnt. A cement kiln puts out about 30,000 cubic meters. 6,000 versus 30,000. And yet the regulation looks the same. But the effect is worse for the cement kiln. Now let's look at the monitoring of dioxin. Dioxin testing of cement kilns is a confidence trick. It's a confidence trick played on the public. They rely on spot tests, what they call spot tests. And let me explain what a spot test is for dioxin. It consists of collecting a sample of the gas for 6 hours under ideal steady-state conditions. If you get upsets, you stop the test. Depending upon the country, the cement kiln is monitored 1, 2, or 3 times a year. And the facility knows when the measurement is going to be made. They get a few weeks' notice when that probe is going to be put in the gas and the sample collected. Now, there is no data collected during startup, shutdown, or upset conditions. And we know that during those conditions, the dioxin emissions can go up by a factor of 1,000 during upset conditions. But they're not monitoring these. So in most cement kilns, there is no continuous monitoring or sampling of dioxins, even though it's now commercially available. This is the so-called AMESA system, and this is from the company AMESA that offers 4-week samples. In other words, instead of measuring the gas for 6 hours, you can measure the gas coming out for 4 weeks on a filter. 4 weeks. Now, during those 4 weeks, you're going to have shutdown, startup, and upset conditions. Those are real, that's real operation data. What we have with the other system is ideal data. 6 hours of ideal data being extrapolated to 8,000 hours of real operation. I'm going to blow up this, listen here. So traditionally, the monitoring of dioxins, that's PCDDFs, is achieved by using 1 to 3 short-term samples per year. The samples are 6-hour measurements. However, over the past 10 years, it was discovered that, especially during upset conditions shutdown periods of incinerators, the emissions could go up 1,000 times more, 1,000 times more. And in this second paragraph here, it indicates that sometimes one startup can put out 60% of the yearly emissions extrapolated from 6-hour tests. So you take the 6-hour test and say, this is what's going to come out in the year. And they find that one startup puts out 60% of that total. In other words, this is a public relations exercise. It's a confidence trick on the public. You are not getting real data from this or any other cement kiln. Another thing is there's no monitoring or regulation of nanoparticles. Let me explain what nanoparticles are. The toxic metals and dioxins come out on the surface of nanoparticles, which are very, very tiny particles. They're less than 1 micron. And we regulate incinerators at either 10 microns or 2.5 microns. That's where our regulations are. So we have no regulations of the nanoparticles. And that is very serious, because the nanoparticles are dangerous. Nanoparticles are not efficiently captured in air pollution control equipment. Even the most modern air pollution control equipment doesn't capture them very well. They travel long distances. They remain suspended for long periods of time, and they penetrate deep into the lungs. But it's worse than that. These nanoparticles are so tiny, they go straight through the lung membranes, straight into our blood. And once they're in our blood, they are distributed to every tissue in the body, and again, enter every tissue. There is no defense in the body for nanoparticles. Now, nanoparticles are not new. Any combustion source, whether you're burning wood, whether you're burning coal, whether you're burning oil, whether you're burning natural gas, will produce nanoparticles. High temperature combustion produces nanoparticles. The difference is that the most toxic nanoparticles come when you burn waste. So potentially all the toxics in the waste stream can end up on tiny particles which can go deep into our body. Here is a particle in brain tissue, and this particle here contains lead, barium, chromium, iron, and silicon. Particularly lead and barium and chromium are toxic. We don't know yet how serious that is. Do the particles just stay there and not interfere, or do they break down and release the toxic metals into the tissue? And there's a good scientific paper written on this, Stéphanie Cormier, published in a leading environmental health journal in the United States. And there's an excellent statement, and I make sure that the organizers here have a copy of this 30-page paper written by a friend of mine, Professor Vivian Howard, who lives in Northern Ireland. He wrote a book on ultrafine particles, and he explains why it's so serious for incineration and health. 30 pages, you will have it. Now let's turn to another issue, the ash issue. The ash issue, to me, is a clear example demonstrating the cement industry's very poor understanding of toxicology. You'll see why. I want to compare the ash situation with incineration with the ash situation from cement kilns. In an incinerator, half the money that you spend building an incinerator is spent on the air pollution control devices. And these control devices are designed to capture the toxic metals and the dioxins. Half your money is spent on that. And the result is that the toxics that you capture are in the fly ash. That's what we call it in the air pollution control device. Now compare that to the, this fly ash is obviously very toxic. In Germany and Switzerland, they put the fly ash into nylon bags and put the nylon bags into salt mines. In Japan, many of the incinerators vitrify, make into a glass this ash. They heat it to a very high temperature and it fuses into a glass to contain these toxic metals. But typically in cement kilns, they, quote, recycle the fly ash into the kiln. They take the fly ash which they've captured to protect the air, and having done it, they put it back into the cement kiln. So there's only two places that, say mercury, can go. Either it gets through the air pollution control device, and therefore it's in the air, or it ends up in the cement. So they're going to be making toxic cement at this facility. You see here, they say dust recycling. That's the air pollution control equipment at the top. I don't know, it looks pretty crude to me on this diagram. It looks like just a single electrostatic precipitator. I need, at some point, to see a diagram of their air pollution control equipment. But however good it is, to me, the whole issue is circumvented by the fact that the fly ash is put back into the kiln. And incidentally, what would be bottom ash in the trash incinerator also will be in the cement. So you have then the volatile metals like mercury, lead, and cadmium and thallium have a very good chance that they're going to get through the air pollution control, end up in the environment, and then, if not, it goes back into the cement. So the recycling of the fly ash defeats the whole purpose of an air pollution control device. You should capture the toxics and then take them and sequester them. Put them in a hazardous waste landfill. Get them out of the environment. But they know. They give everything a second chance, third chance to get out, and if not, it's going to end up in the cement. So they should be labeling this cement made in this plant. They should tell the public that this, and builders, that this cement is made with waste, and will contain toxics. Now, how big a threat is the burning of waste to the cement kiln to the workers? The fly ash is very toxic, containing both very toxic metals and dioxins. And this material is going to end up in the clinker. The product of a cement kiln are these lumps. When you come out of the furnace, they're big lumps about this size. And then what happens to that is that these lumps are ground to produce a powder, which is your cement. Now, when you grind these lumps, you produce a lot of dust. And the question is, how much of that dust gets into the workers' lungs? Do they breathe it in? How much does it get onto their clothes and on their skin and in the surrounding environment? Again, I'm sure they've got better. But when I visited a cement kiln in Mozambique back in 1998, I think it was, Mozambique, I stood there when the workers were coming out of the cement kiln. They were covered head to toe in this dust. They looked gray-green. And I was absolutely shocked. And I was particularly shocked because the proposal that I was investigating is that they wanted to burn stockpiles of pesticides in Mozambique in this cement kiln. So these workers would have been covered with material from toxic pesticides. So burning waste is good business for the cement kiln company, but it's not good for sustainability or the health of the community. Now, for the cement kiln company, instead of paying for a fuel, instead of paying for coal or petcoke or natural gas, they are paid to take this waste. So you're going to get whole shiploads of waste, which is called refuse-derived fuel, but that's basically waste with the glass and the metals taken out. And their refuse-derived fuel is going to contain both paper and plastics, two ingredients which are guaranteed to produce dioxin. And the more toxic this waste that comes in, the more that they will get paid. So planners should be concerned by the perception of Volus when it's seen to be importing waste merely to help this company. When you import waste, you're now in the waste industry. You're in the waste disposal industry. You're taking in waste from many, many other communities. And therefore, you will be perceived as a dump town. You are taking in waste that nobody else wants. You're taking in waste that people are prepared to pay money to get out of their community. Now, question, will the citizens of Volus be protected from this facility? As far as the health of the environmental impacts, citizens will be hostage. You will be hostage to, one, how adequate the emission standards are, and I've told you that they're 5 to 6 times less stringent than incinerators. You will be hostage to how well the plant is run. Does the current operation give planners confidence that this cement company can control such tricky issues as dioxin emissions? That's a question. Thirdly, how well the plant is monitored. Will they use the 4-week sampling, which is expensive, or will they take the cheap route of accepting the 6-hour tests? And one of the things we need to do on a global picture is to make sure the European regulations insist upon 4-week monitoring, not 6-hour monitoring. And finally, how aggressively will the Greek government enforce even your weak regulations and monitor them? That's all of those things you need to be protected. Now, there are 2 technical documents that I recommend that you read to get both sides of the picture. One, this issue paints a very, very, very bleak picture of what a cement kiln will do burning hazardous waste. This is by Kleppinger. It goes back to 1990. So that's the worst scenario, this one. The best scenario is this European report from 2010, which makes it look as if most cement kilns can meet the regulations. So you need to read both of those, organizers, to get an idea of where the truth is. But now I want to switch gears. Even if you made incineration, cement kilns burning waste safe, you would never make it sensible. You would never make this an intelligent thing to do in the 21st century. Why is that? Answer, incineration is attempting to perfect a bad idea. Our task is not to find better ways to destroy discarded materials, but to stop making products and packaging that have to be destroyed. And that is the message of zero waste. We have to design waste out of the system. Okay. So the zero waste has this message built into it. This is a message from the community to industry. The community has to say to industry, if we can't reuse it, if we can't recycle it, if we can't compost it. And this assumes that the community does its best to reuse, recycle, and compost all its discarded materials, capture the high ground, and then say to industry, if we can't reuse it, recycle it, or compost it, then industry shouldn't be making it. We need better industrial design for the 21st century. Nature makes no waste. Waste is a man-made thing. We have to stop making it. We have to be more like nature and make sure that everything that we use is reused, recycled, or composted. Now, compare that message to the cement kiln message to industry. That message is, if society can't reuse it, recycle it, or compost it, don't worry, we will burn it in our kilns and save our industry money on fuel and get paid doing it. In other words, the cement kilns are the biggest obstacle to zero waste. They take the emphasis off industrial responsibility. We're trying to put the emphasis back on industrial responsibility. They are taking it away. They're going to delay better design for many, many years to come. In other words, burning waste in cement kilns is not sustainable. And I want to say a few words about sustainability. We're living on this planet as if we had another one to go to. There is no planet B. Planet A is what we live on. It's finite. The resources are finite. This cartoon sums it up pretty well. We're consuming our planet like a hamburger, really. We would need 5 planets if everybody on the planet consumed like Americans. 5. And we would need 2 planets if everybody consumed like a European. And meanwhile, India and China, these 2 huge populations, and throw in Indonesia, throw in Brazil, they're all copying our overconsumption. And so something has got to change. Something's got to change. Before the end of the century, something has got to change. And in my view, the best place to start that change is with waste, because we're all, every single human being is involved in making waste every day. And all the time that we're making waste, we're part of a non-sustainable way of living on our planet. But with good local political leadership, we could all be part of a movement towards sustainability, via a movement towards zero waste. In other words, we have to convert a throwaway society into a sustainable society. Or the way that Europe talks about it now, the European Commission talks about it, is we have to convert a linear economy into a circular economy. And the Pope is talking about that too. So here's the linear economy. It starts with extraction of raw materials, shipping them around the world, manufacturing products, more transport, consumption of those products, and then throwing the material away in a short time. That's the linear economy. And it has many impacts: using energy, creating global warming, many, many global impacts of this system. Now, what does incineration in cement kilns do to this linear economy? The answer is nothing. Nothing, because if you burn that material, that paper and that plastic and everything else which is burned, then you have to go all the way back to the beginning again. Extract more resources, transport them around the world, more manufacture, all of this using energy and pollution and so on. So incineration in cement kilns is business as usual at a time we can't afford business as usual. So incineration is not a sustainable solution. It perpetuates the linear economy. Here's a cartoon. This cartoon says you go to the shopping mall and you buy all these products, and in a relatively short time you shift them over to the high-tech toilet at the other end of town where you burn them, destroy them. That's the linear system. Now, compare that with recycling. If you recycle discarded materials to industry, you cut out all the impacts of extraction. If you reuse the whole object, you cut out the impacts of both extraction and production and manufacture. And if you compost the organics, again, you cut out the impacts of extraction and production, especially of synthetic fertilizers. So as far as sustainability is concerned, every ton that we bury or burn takes us in the opposite direction, whereas every ton that we compost, every ton that we reuse, every ton that we recycle, every ton that we avoid takes us in the right direction. So that's why I'm saying that burning waste in the cement kiln is not only bad for your community, but it's also the wrong way to go for the whole planet. It's a global problem. And I argue that the waste problem will not be solved with better technology, but with better organization, better education, and ultimately better industrial design. And these are the key components of a zero waste strategy. So just a couple of words about zero waste. Here's the book. Again, the full title is The Zero Waste Solution, Untrashing the Planet One Community at a Time. I do not anticipate that the leadership will come from the top. From the top we get talky, talky, talky. We need doing, doing, doing at the community level. Again, it's got to be in our hands. You love your community, protect your community. The foreword to this book was written by Jeremy Irons, a British film actor who hosted this movie called Trashed. Have anybody seen this movie, Trashed? You should get it and show it here, because it deals with the terrible problems associated with landfills, with incinerators, and also the horrible problem of plastics in the ocean. Heartbreaking, heartbreaking. So in one slide, I'm going to give you zero waste in one slide. It is as follows. Zero waste is a combination of community responsibility and industrial responsibility. We have 4 R's. 4 R's. The 3 R's for the community responsibility: reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost. Recycling in this context means included in recycle. And industrial responsibility: redesign. So in the community, we have to maximize reuse, recycling, and composting, and in the industry has to help us with the stuff that we can't. So all of this is incorporated into 10 steps to zero waste. There they are. Again, I'm not going to talk in any depth about these, but it's in the book. And this presentation will be posted on the website, so you can see now all the detailed discussion of source separation, door-to-door collection, composting, recycling, reuse and repair, economic incentives, waste reduction, separation of the residuals, zero waste research, better industrial design, and finally, the backup landfill. In front of every landfill, we have to build a facility to separate the residuals, the stuff that we currently can't reuse, recycle, or compost. You separate it in front of the landfill, and then you bring in your university professors and students to study this non-recyclable material and come forward and make suggestions about better products and better packaging. And I'll give you examples of where this is proving very successful. So, what I like about this is that step one is everybody. Everybody has these 10 fingers. And these 10 fingers make waste by mixing everything together. That's waste. But these 10 things, if they separate, then you have resources. And the next step is door-to-door collection of those resources. So, for example, in San Francisco, every business and every household has 3 containers. A blue one for all the recyclables, a green one for all the organics, the food waste, the yard waste, and a black one for the residuals. And those are picked up once a week. In Italy, they have better systems. The same trucks pick up different materials on different days. On Monday, they pick up the mixed recyclables. On Tuesdays, they pick up the paper. On Wednesday, they pick up the organic fraction, the humido fraction, and so on. Each day of the week, different material. It's very simple, it's very elegant, and they save money doing it. I think you're familiar with the concept, I suspect, with composting and recycling. What I love in particular is reuse and repair. Centers in which you recover whole objects, furniture, appliances, records, books, everything that people don't want anymore. Instead of just putting them straight into a landfill, put them in a place so that people can have a second use of it. And you can make money doing it. And just to show you that I believe in this, this jacket, which is not too bad, this is a little fashion show. This jacket cost me $6. Not bad, it's quite a famous make. I couldn't afford to buy this new. I can buy it for $6. This belt was $3. These trousers I think were $6. And these shoes, which I bought the day before I came on this trip, were $4. They were on sale, half price, $4 for these shoes. Leather, upper, man-made materials at the bottom, and inner. But the nice thing about this, these places are fun. It's fun to go to these places, so you don't know what kind of bargain that you're going to find. You wouldn't believe what people throw away that they don't want anymore. Just because someone wants to get rid of something doesn't mean it's useless. They just don't want it anymore. And we can shift then the wealth from the rich to the lower income people. It also creates many jobs, many jobs. And you can use this job creation to train people. In a reuse center in Vermont, they train people off the street, unemployed people off the street, to repair large appliances, small appliances, electrical goods, and even computers. They train them for 9 months, and then they help them to get a job. And they're also linked to deconstruction. Companies that take down old buildings, they carefully take down those old buildings, deconstruction, and in the facility they use the materials for new buildings. They take the wood and so on, the fitments, the doors, the windows, etc., for new things. And in some cases, they use the wood, the better wood, to make furniture. So these reuse and repair centers are an ideal place to educate people, interest people, community development, especially in a big city. We need to break up the big city into smaller villages from where we came. The big cities are usually a conglomeration of smaller communities which have been absorbed. We need to regenerate that. We know we can get much better recycling in small communities than in large cities. So we fight that by citing these community centers around. And it's great because they make money. Once the municipality has set up a building and said to them, get on with it, organizations like this can go ahead and make money, and very useful. Just a quick word about economic incentives. The one that's very popular is the pay-as-you-throw system, or save-as-you-throw. The way this works, suppose you had 3 containers. The recyclables, no surcharge, gratis, free. The compostables, gratis, free, no surcharge. But the residuals, the more you make, the more you pay. Or put it more positively, the less you make, the more you save. And the way this works in one community in Italy is the reusables are collected in a tough reusable bag, and there's a microchip in it. You only pay when you put it out. You're allowed to put it out once a week. But supposing you save up the residuals, and if you put it out once every 2 weeks, you're going to save 1 week payment. If you put it out once every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, you're going to save more money. And this is working. It's very, very effective. It's probably the most effective way of reducing waste, residuals, when people have to pay for them. So if you want to throw away everything, if you want to be a slob, you're going to have to pay for it. And if you want to save money, then you work at it. You're rewarding good behavior. And I just want, again, step 8, we know using step 7, up to 7, we can get 80% diversion from landfill, 80% less material going to a landfill with those first 7 steps. San Francisco, 80%. A community of 850,000 people, only 80% of the material that once went to landfill is going now to the landfill. Only 20% is going to the landfill. And in Italy, over 1,000 communities are getting 70%, and over 300 are getting 80%, and some communities are getting 90%. And they're doing this within a short time, 1, 2, 3 years. So Volos, you could do this. In a couple of years, you could get rates like Italy. It just needs good leadership, and it will be helped because in this battle of fighting the incineration of the cement kiln, you're going to produce a lot of passion. And this is the passion of saying no. No! So cement kiln, no! But with them we want to say yes. We want to say yes to separation, yes to composting, yes to recycling, yes to reuse, yes, yes, and yes to sustainability. Well, that's enough on that. You can get more from the web page. Summary. I would like to quickly how am I doing for time? Okay? Not bad. Not bad. Okay. How are you doing up there, Eva? All right? Okay. So, summary, burning waste in the Volos cement plant is not good for Volos, and it's not good for the planet. Number 2, incineration is not good for tourism. Number 3, incineration is not good for agriculture. You get the dioxin concentrated in animal fat. Highest doses of dioxin go to the human fetus and then to the infant. Incineration is not good for health. Indirectly through the food chain and directly through inhalation. Acid gases, toxic metals and dioxins and nanoparticles. Regulations for air emissions are weak, 5 to 6 times weaker than for incinerators. Nanoparticle emissions are not regulated at all. Recycling fly ash into the kiln defeats the whole purpose of air pollution control. Toxic metals like mercury will either go into the air or into the cement. When clinker is ground, it produces a lot of dust. That's a threat to workers' health and to the local environment, the people that live very close to the plant. And even if you made burning waste in cement kilns safe, you would never make it sensible. It perpetuates the linear economy. It is one thing for workers to take risks with their own health, but they shouldn't allow these risks for their families and for their community. Burning waste in Volos cement kiln will save the company money, but it will make Volos into a dump town. You will be a junior partner in the waste industry, which is largely run by the mafia, by the way. As far as waste management is concerned, there's a far better solution for Volos and for Greece and for the planet. It's called zero waste. 3 final messages. The first message to citizens: don't let the experts take your common sense away. They will if they can. You need your common sense, and we need democracy. To politicians, don't put your faith back in people. Stop trying to solve your social problems with magic machines. We need hard work and responsibility from our politicians. Work with people. We are not the enemy. Yes, the citizens will be the enemy if you try to poison us. We will be your enemy. We will make your life a misery. But if you try to do the right thing, we will be your friend. We will be your ally. And you've got elections in a year and a half, so remember which politicians come out on your side and which come out on the cement industry's side. And to activists, very important, have fun. I mean, if you're going to work on this, if you're going to work on saving the planet and improving your community, don't be miserable doing it. Don't say, oh, I don't get out anymore, I don't go to parties and so on, I don't sleep with my wife, oh, that's too miserable. You know, I've heard activists give this whole litany of how working on some issue is ruining their life, and then they turn around and say, would you help me? What? And become a miserable wreck like you? No, no. You've got to, if you show people that you're enjoying it, that you're having fun protecting your community, protecting the planet, then people will want to join you. And I have a little place where I have fun, and that is I have a little song. A little song. I think Eva has got the translation, which may be on there, but I'm going to sing it in English. While we recognize our landfills all are swelling with the waste, it doesn't justify a bad decision made in haste. Let us put our heads together so the problem may be faced, and we must do it now. Bum, 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 bum. And the chorus goes, you can clap to this. No, we don't want incineration. We don't want incineration. We don't want incineration. We know there's a better way. Bum, 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 bum. Mine eyes have seen the garbage that's a-smouldering on the grate. We must stop incineration before it is too late. Unless we wish the dangers, we had better separate, and we must do it now. We don't want incineration. We don't want incineration. We don't want incineration. We know there's a better way. Thank you very much.
Πιστεύω μία από τις καλύτερες εισηγήσεις των τελευταίων ετών στην περιοχή μας. Ευχαριστούμε πολύ τον Paul Connet. Paul Connet, we really thank you on behalf of the committee. Θα ακολουθήσει ένας κύκλος ερωτήσεων. Πιθανώς θα έχετε κάποιες απορίες πάνω στην εισήγηση του Paul Connet. Οπότε ο καθένας σας μπορεί να λάβει το λόγο. Υπάρχουν 2 ασύρματα μικρόφωνα, όπου μπορείτε να θέσετε το ερώτημά σας και ο Paul Connet θα απαντήσει.
Do you have a roving microphone for people?
Yes, they are down. Υπάρχει κάποια ερώτηση?
Okay. Yes, yes. So ask the question in Greek and then...
Εδώ και πολλές δεκαετίες χρησιμοποιήθηκε ένα υλικό στην οικοδομική, ο αμίαντος. Πέρασαν πολλά χρόνια για να μάθουμε ότι είναι τοξικός και ότι έπρεπε να αφαιρεθεί από τις κατασκευές μας. Υπάρχει λοιπόν περίπτωση να εγκλωβιστούμε σε ένα είδος τσιμέντου όπου οι επόμενες κατασκευές θα αποδειχθούν τοξικές και άρα θα είμαστε αιχμάλωτοι τους.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Just as we're paying many, many years later for the dangers of using asbestos. I mean, our children are being exposed to asbestos fibers now because of what we did many years ago. The same applies to cement. Another example, by the way, of something done many years ago is now causing damage to our children, and that is the use of lead paint. Lead paint in old houses. This paint may have been painted 60 years ago, but when people renovate this old house, one of the things they do is to sand down the paint. And within a few days, their children are poisoned by lead. So the people that painted those houses are long gone, but our children are still paying the price of using lead in paint. The same thing may apply with cement. If you use cement or concrete to build a house, and sometime in the future that house is knocked down or renovated, you'll get clouds, dust, and that dust will contain the lead and the mercury and the cadmium and the other toxic elements. So, as I said, I think it's important for the government or the European Parliament to require notices on the bags of cement. People should be told this cement was made by using waste as a fuel. And if they're proud of what they're doing, they would say, it's green cement, we recycled the waste to make this product. But people should know the difference between the cement that's been made with a clean fuel and a cement that's been made with a dirty fuel. And same with roads. If you make roads with concrete base, then that concrete will get pulverized and the dust will go into adjacent fields and eventually people will get exposed.
Another thing, Paul, is that the municipality of Volos, instead of doing all this recycling, using the green spots in the city, it tends to make a unit for producing the SRF.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
It's a joke. Refuse-derived fuel, or RDF, or SRF, is basically waste. They've taken the stuff that you can't burn out of it. They've taken the metals out. They've taken the glass out. Big deal. But you're left with paper and plastics and other stuff, which is where the toxics are. Or the plastics have toxic additives, all kinds of metals, including beryllium. Burning paper and plastics together is what you need to make dioxin. So any plastic there which can... What's it? Mercury? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
First of all, thank you very much for coming in Volos.
Eva, did you translate that last? Did she?
First of all, thank you very much for coming to Volos.
I'm trying to... Where are you?
Ο καθηγητής απλά είπε ότι το SRF και το RDF ουσιαστικά είναι εφημισμοί, είναι σκουπίδια. Απλά βγάζουν τα υλικά τα οποία δεν μπορούν να καούν, το σίδερο και άλλα υλικά, και είναι σκουπίδια τα οποία πάνε προς καύση. Και είναι αδιανόητο γιατί ακόμη και αυτά παράγουν ουσίες οι οποίες είναι επικίνδυνες. Υπάρχει το αντιμόνιο, υπάρχει το πλαστικό, παράγονται διοξίνες, οπότε υλικό το οποίο θα μπορούσε να πάει στην ανακύκλωση, πάει ως καύσιμη ύλη και πιθανότατα θα πηγαίνει σε τσιμεντοβιομηχανίες.
As far as I have understood, Mr. Professor, is that you propose to separate all the things we have to go to for the manufacture, to separate in 3, 4 parts.
Yeah.
How this is possible? Is that possible in Italy? Has been done in Italy, and we can compare our methods with this they do in Italy?
Yes, they are doing it in Italy. We have nearly 300 communities that have declared a zero-waste strategy. As I said, over 1,000 communities are getting over 70%. They say raccolta differenziata, diversion from the landfill. Over 300 are getting more than 80%, and in some communities over 90%. They are also copying this system in Spain. San Francisco is 80%, and the whole Flemish-speaking part of Belgium is at 73%. That's 6 million people in the Flemish-speaking part of Belgium are getting 73% diversion. And the good news is that in Italy, it's very quick. It's very, very quick. In Lazio province many years ago, they got a number of communities were getting 60% within 1 year. In less than a year, communities from scratch got 60%. And the key is separation and door-to-door collection. It saves money, it creates jobs, and it's better for the appearance of the community. Instead of having overflowing containers, each household puts out the material. And it saves money because instead of paying to put into an incinerator or putting into a landfill and the cost of transport, all that is saved, and you may get paid. You may get paid for some of the recyclables and some of the compostables and so on. So yeah, it's...
What do you propose, please, to appeal to our government or to our local communities for doing this?
Well, I tell you what, I would like to come back. I'd like to come back and do 2 things. One, I would like to debate any scientist in this community or any scientist that the cement company wants to find and debate them publicly. They would give the arguments for what they're doing, I would give the arguments against, but the important thing is that the people, the public, and the decision makers hear both sides on the same night. I like to do that. And in that trip, maybe also to talk to anybody in the Greek government about how they could launch this zero waste movement in Greece.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Είναι ανοιχτό. Λοιπόν, θα μιλήσω στα ελληνικά, θα θέσω την ερώτηση. Νομίζω ότι το πρόβλημα στην περιοχή μας είναι σε 2 επίπεδα. Το πρώτο, ότι έχει ήδη ξεκινήσει η λειτουργία αυτή της καύσης και τι μπορούμε να κάνουμε πλέον εμείς από τη στιγμή που υπάρχει νόμιμη, νομότυπη άδεια για αυτή τη λειτουργία, τι μπορεί να γίνει στην πόλη. Και ένα δεύτερο επίπεδο είναι βεβαίως η ευαισθητοποίηση των πολιτών για να περάσουν στο σύστημα αυτό το zero waste. Και αν υποθέσουμε ότι όλοι μας εδώ βγούμε αποφασισμένοι από το να κάνουμε αυτή την ανακύκλωση.
Okay.
και πείσουμε και όλους τους άλλους να το κάνουν, δεν υπάρχει καμία οργάνωση αυτή τη στιγμή για να υποδεχτεί τα ανακυκλώσιμα υλικά. Λοιπόν, άρα, ακόμα και να θελήσουμε και να πιστούμε όλοι οι κάτοικοι ότι προχωράμε σε αυτές τις λύσεις zero waste, δεν μπορούμε αυτή τη στιγμή, δεν υπάρχει οργάνωση, δεν υπάρχει φορέας να τα παραλάβει αυτά τα ανακυκλώσιμα υλικά. Ένα θέμα λοιπόν είναι το να προχωρήσουμε ως κοινωνία, ως πόλη σε αυτή την κατεύθυνση, και ένα διαφορετικό θέμα είναι ότι ήδη έχουμε ξεκινήσει και με σκουπίδια.
Well, let me answer the first question first of all. You say the cement kiln is obeying the law, but I've told you the law is totally unsatisfactory in terms the regulations are too weak, number one, and the monitoring is a joke. To monitor with these 6-hour tests is a joke. It's a sick joke.
Okay, we know that. We know that.
Well, we need to tell more people. We need to make this public, make everybody understand they're obeying the law. Ha, ha, ha. Obeying what law? This law was not designed to protect you. This law is designed to protect the cement industry.
Of course.
It's pathetic, a 6-hour test for a whole years of operation. But let's turn to the more positive. What can you do to start zero waste? You obviously need good political leadership. You've got to, in a year and a half, make sure you elect some officials who are not decrepit, who are young, energetic, dynamic, want to protect the community, want to protect the planet. Elect those people, find those people, and if you can't find them, run yourself. Make democracy work. So you do need local leadership to lay on the door-to-door collection system. And then you've got to encourage the Greek government to sponsor more recycling facilities and more composting facilities. But meanwhile, what citizens can do themselves is to set up these reuse and repair centers. For very little investment, you can set up. Well, the way you would start is to say to Volos, on Saturday, blah, 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 bring any reusable furniture, appliances, etc. to the city square. We will have a big sale at the city square. We'll have fun. It's going to be a fun sale. We're going to have fun with waste. Bring all your stuff. We'll have a big, big, gigantic sale. You'll get bargains galore. Bargains, bargains. Come and join the city centre. And then with the money that you raise, then you set up a permanent reuse and repair centre. All you need is space.
And who is going to organize all this?
The
It's
community.
a matter of
You
organization.
Yeah. If we want to save the planet, we're going to have to work for it. We're going to have to work. A few days ago, I was in Lucca, in Tuscany, in Italy. And there on Sunday, January, I think it was 22nd or 21st, they opened their 4th reuse center. And the municipality had given them a building rent-free for 3 years. Rent-free. That's all the community has to do. Give us a building with space, and we'll do the rest for you.
Excuse me, a small intervention from the control. Please give Mr. Let a set of headphones, and Eva will translate Greek questions to English. Thank you.
Να προχωρήσω.
Where is the person? I
Την ερώτηση. Καταρχάς, καταρχάς ευχαριστούμε που ήρθατε και συγχαρητήρια για την εισήγησή σας που ήταν πάρα πολύ καλή. Θα έχετε ακούσει λοιπόν ότι στο Βέλγιο, αν δεν κάνω λάθος, έξω από την πόλη.
Okay, so I can translate. Yes, I can. This is Eva. You're still there. You're still alive. Okay. All right.
Λοιπόν, τις ευχαριστίες σας τις είπε. Θα έχετε ακούσει ότι, αν δεν κάνω λάθος, στο Βέλγιο υπάρχει ένα εργοστάσιο έξω από την πόλη, το οποίο καίει απορρίμματα. Άρα, λοιπόν, υπάρχουν εργοστάσια και κατ' επέκταση υπάρχουν μέθοδοι ή φίλτρα που κατά κάποιο τρόπο χρησιμοποιούν λοιπόν και απορρίμματα και να μην ρυπαίνουν λοιπόν την ατμόσφαιρα.
Yeah. Well, as I said in my talk, even if you did that. Okay, thank you. Even, all this technology, even if you made an incinerator that was safe, it's not an intelligent thing to do. You're perfecting a bad idea of destroying finite resources. We shouldn't be destroying them. We should get more creative about using our resources and sharing them with the future. That is what we are required in the 21st century. I used to say in the 20th century, the issue of incineration was all about safety, about toxicity. But in the 21st century, it's all about sustainability. Everything that we do from now on should ask the question, is this sustainable? Because if it's not sustainable, we are robbing our children. So it's not machines we need, it's organizers, educators, designers. It's low-tech, not magic machines.
Ναι. Λοιπόν, η ερώτηση είναι απλή. Ναι. Η ερώτηση είναι απλή τελείως. Παράγεται τοξική τέφρα. Αυτή η τοξική τέφρα, και αναφέρεται αυτό στις τσιμεντοβιομηχανίες, μπαίνει ως συστατικό για την παραγωγή τσιμέντου. Χρησιμοποιείται λοιπόν. Αυτό είναι de facto. Άρα, η δικιά σας η άποψη είναι ότι αυτό είναι επιβλαβές για τον ανθρώπινο οργανισμό. Συγκεκριμένη ερώτηση. Ή όχι. Αν είναι, πρέπει να αποσυρθεί κάτι την ταπεινή μου άποψη. Αυτό.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What the government should do... Oh, yeah. What we should do, the government should do, is to say, if you use waste to make cement, the fly ash that you capture in the air pollution control devices should be sent to a hazardous waste facility, like they do with incinerators, like they do in Germany, like they do in Switzerland, like they do in Belgium. They capture the toxics and then put them in a toxic hazardous waste landfill or some other sequestering device. Yes? Okay. Thank you. There are questions that come from here, so please make a note of the people that... Put your hand up if you want to ask a question. We got... You're next. Then we got people over here. Someone down there. Yeah.
Okay, Paul, I'm here. Okay, do you see?
Oh, there you are.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank you for being here tonight. And I would like to ask you a question which is crucial for us here about the size of the company. If there is any kind of relationship between the size of the company and our ability to cope with burning of waste materials, you know?
Yes.
You understand me?
Yes.
Yes, because this is going to be a very good argument taking into account taking into account that this cement company is one of the 5 biggest companies all over the world.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. That's very important, because that big company will have a lot of financial clout. It will allow them to buy critical politicians. So you've got to watch out for politicians that are taking money. And for that matter, scientists who are taking money in order to prove that this operation is safe. So yes, the bigger this company, they have a few. If they're going to have shiploads of this waste coming from other countries, other parts of Greece, they see this as a big, big money maker. Big money maker. In fact, in the United States, one of the big cement companies said, back in the 1990s, we expect to be making more money receiving waste than we make selling cement. In other words, they see themselves as waste companies, not cement builders. So it's a very scary thing. It's a very scary thing that they see themselves, some of them, as making more money from receiving waste than making cement. And don't forget, the more toxic that waste is, the more money that they will make. Yeah. Okay.
Εγώ να μιλήσω.
So next question. Where are we? Okay.
Καλώς ορίσατε στην πόλη μας.
Thank you.
Θα ήθελα 2 λόγια για την ανακύκλωση του μετάλλου, διότι στην πόλη μας, πολύ κοντά στην πόλη μας, έχουμε μια μεγάλη, τεράστια βιομηχανία που ασχολείται με την ανακύκλωση του μετάλλου, τη λεγόμενη χαλιβουργική. Ήθελα 2 λόγια για την ανακύκλωση του μετάλλου.
Yes. Here's the problem with the steel industry. Some of the metals in making steel are catalysts for dioxin formation. The best catalyst for dioxin formation is copper. And the worst way of making dioxin is to burn the plastic coating of copper cables. The plastic coating, especially in the older cables, is PVC, polyvinyl chloride plastic. That's 58% chlorine. So you're burning a compound containing chlorine with a catalyst for the formation of dioxin. But in the steel industry, I think it's the iron, which is also a catalyst for dioxin formation. So you've already got a dioxin-polluted community because you're a host to a steel mill. And I think there's a very upsetting thing that's happening around the world. We have what are called sacrifice areas. Sacrifice areas. In other words, you start with one polluting source, the people take it, then you produce another polluting source, and the people take it. And after a while, people say, don't go and pollute a new community. Let's go back to Volos. Let's go and put the next polluting source there in Volos, because now you are a sacrifice area. And that's happened in a number of places around the world. Sacrifice areas. You do not want to become a sacrifice area. That's why you've got to say, once is enough. The steel industry put dioxins into our food. Enough, enough. You're not going to put more dioxin in our food by building a cement kiln, using a cement kiln to burn waste, which will put more dioxin. Again, this is not a place to put dioxin into the air, because you've got these animals waiting to concentrate it in your food. In the back, lady in the back.
Καλησπέρα.
Okay.
εκ μέρους του Εμπορικού Συλλόγου Βόλου. Δεν είμαστε ο πιο μαχητικός σύλλογος, όπως θα ξέρετε, έτσι. Δεν είναι ότι πρωτοστατούμε σε διάφορα γεγονότα. Παρ' όλα αυτά, μετά και από την πρόσκληση που έκανε η Επιτροπή, εδώ και κάμποσο χρονικό διάστημα, έχουμε πάρει μια απόφαση ότι είμαστε αντίθετοι με την καύση σκουπιδιών στο συγκεκριμένο εργοστάσιο εδώ στην περιοχή του Βόλου, την ΑΓΕΤ. Και με αυτή την έννοια έχουμε έρθει και κάποιοι εκπρόσωποι από το Εμπορικό Σύλλογο εδώ πέρα. Αυτό απλά ήθελα να το τονίσω για να γίνει γνωστό και σε αυτούς που παρακολουθούν τη συζήτηση, διότι κατά την άποψή μας θα πρέπει και άλλοι φορείς να αρχίζουν να παίρνουν θέση για αυτό το ζήτημα, γιατί όντως δεν είναι μόνο τα χρήματα, είναι καταρχάς η υγεία των κατοίκων της πόλης. Να διευκρινίσω ότι εμείς δεν θεωρούμε, και μιλάω ως Εμπορικός Σύλλογος τώρα, ξανατονίζω, δεν θεωρούμε εχθρούς τους εργαζόμενους στην ΑΓΕΤ. Δηλαδή γίνεται μια προσπάθεια να γίνει μια πόλωση ότι όποιος είναι ενάντια στην καύση, μάλλον είναι και υπέρ του κλεισίματος του εργοστασίου. Είναι δύο διαφορετικά πράγματα. Αν θέλει κάποιος να μιλήσουμε για την ανεργία, να μιλήσουμε για την ανεργία. Αν θέλει κάποιος να μιλήσουμε για το πώς πρέπει να διαχειριζόμαστε τα απορρίμματα, να μιλήσουμε για αυτό. Τώρα μιλάμε για το πώς πρέπει να διαχειριζόμαστε τα απορρίμματα. Το ζήτημα της ανεργίας είναι μεγάλο, αλλά δεν θα λυθεί με τέτοιου είδους ζητήματα ή του κλεισίματος και άλλων εργοστασίων.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's very exciting when the Chamber of Commerce takes a position, a strong position like this. It's a very sensible position, but it's also a courageous position. Did you get it? Yeah. And you're right. You are protecting the workers in that cement kiln. You don't want those workers breathing in the dust which contains toxic metals. You want to make their job safer. You want them to have a clean fuel in their operation, not a dirty fuel. So you are working for the workers. You're working for their families so that they don't have to eat food with the dioxins in it. And also, you are protecting, I hope the Chamber of Commerce recognizes, you've got hundreds of people working in the tourist industry, hundreds of people working in hotels, hundreds of people working in restaurants, hundreds of people selling food. I mean, all these people need protecting. Thank God the Chamber of Commerce sees this so strongly, I think, in economic terms.
Να συνεχίσω, να κάνω και μια ερώτηση όμως. Γιατί επειδή όντως το ζήτημα είναι η διαχείριση σκουπιδιών και πρέπει να αλλάξουμε λίγο το πεδίο της συζήτησης και έγινε προσπάθεια από τον κύριο Κόνετ να το κάνει αυτό, παρόλα αυτά τα επιχειρήματα από την άλλη πλευρά είναι συγκεκριμένα και πρέπει με κάποιο τρόπο νομίζω να απαντιούνται και ως τέτοια. Σίγουρα το ζήτημα είναι η διαχείριση σκουπιδιών, αλλά υπάρχει ένα επιχείρημα που λέει ότι ο κλίβανος, ο φούρνος στο εργοστάσιο της ΑΓΕΤ λειτουργεί με συγκεκριμένες συνθήκες, κάτω από τις οποίες δεν παράγονται τέτοιου είδους προβληματικές, τοξικά αέρια. Όντως ισχύει κάτι τέτοιο, γιατί όπως υπόθηκε και σε μια άλλη συζήτηση, αύριο μεθαύριο μπορεί να έρθουν άλλοι επιστήμονες οι οποίοι να επιχειρηματολογήσουν από το αντίθετο. Με ποιο τρόπο θα αντικρούσουμε αυτή την άποψη?
That's what they were saying in 1985. When I started in 1985, don't worry about the dioxins, we just have to run the furnaces at a high temperature. And then in 1985, they found out that the highest dioxin emissions were coming from the incinerators in the Netherlands, which ran at the highest temperature. So that theory was not correct. And the reason it was not correct, we now know, is that the dioxins are produced. Yes, it's true. You need a high temperature in the furnace. That will destroy the dioxins in the furnace. But the dioxins are reformed in the air pollution control devices when the temperature in the device goes above 200 degrees Celsius. So you need a high temperature in the furnace, but you need to quench the gases to a temperature less than 200 before they go into the air pollution control devices. This phenomena is called post-combustion formation of dioxin. The dioxin's formed after the furnace. It's well established, well established.
Welcome to Greece, Mr. Professor. Here.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome to Volos. Please wear the technology in your ears, please.
Yeah.
Wear it, please. I will speak in Greek.
Okay,
language.
yeah. Yes. I'll put this on. Little machine.
Μόλις τώρα μας περιγράψατε μια ιδανική κοινωνία που θα πρέπει να την πραγματοποιήσουμε, μόνο που αυτή την κοινωνία την περιέγραψε 2.500 χρόνια πριν ο Πλάτων και έκανε μια παρατήρηση ότι αυτή η κοινωνία μόνο σε κοινωνία αγγέλων ταιριάζει. Εμείς, όπως καταλαβαίνετε, δεν είμαστε και τόσο άγγελοι. Εκείνο το οποίο θέλω να ρωτήσω, μάλλον να τοποθετηθώ λιγάκι, είναι πρώτον, μας είπατε ότι η τσιμεντοβιομηχανία είναι ακατάλληλη για την καύση RDF. Σκουπιδιών, όπως θέλετε, πέστε το. Η τεχνολογία η οποία εφαρμόζεται αυτή τη στιγμή σε μια σειρά από χώρες. Μέσα στις πόλεις. Στη Βιέννη, παραδείγματος χάρη, υπάρχουν 3 εργοστάσια, τα οποία χρησιμοποιούν αυτή την τεχνολογία, που με σύγχρονους αισθητήρες, θα με συγχωρήσετε, είμαι τεχνολόγος αερίων καυσίμων και γνωρίζω μερικά πραγματάκια και με ξένησε λιγάκι το θέμα μην ακούτε τους ειδικούς. Αν δεν ακούσουμε τους ειδικούς σε κάθε θέμα, ποιους θα ακούσουμε. Πέραν όμως αυτών, υπάρχουν λοιπόν συστήματα αμέσου ελέγχου. Το σύστημα που περιγράψατε ως αμίσα είναι ελληνική λέξη που λέγεται άμεσα, έτσι, όπου άμεσα γίνονται οι αυτοδιορθώσεις σε συνθήκες οι οποίες διαφέρουν από στιγμή σε στιγμή. Βεβαίως πάντα υπάρχει η πιθανότητα ατυχημάτων, πάντα όπως σε κάθε τι. Μην ξεχνάτε ότι αυτή τη στιγμή όλος ο πλανήτης ρυπαίνεται κατά κύριο λόγο από τους ρήπους των αυτοκινήτων, αλλά δεν σκέφτεται κανένας να αφήσει το αυτοκινητάκι του στο σπίτι του. Εξηγήστε μας λοιπόν, εάν πέραν της βιομηχανίας είναι το απόβλητο που θα παραμείνει μετά από οποιαδήποτε διαλογή, θα μπορέσει να καεί, να καταστραφεί, παράγοντας ταυτόχρονα και ενέργεια, από ένα εργοστάσιο το οποίο θα έχει τις ανάλογες τεχνολογικές εφαρμογές με αυτές των άλλων προηγμένων χωρών.
Can you translate, Marcus? She wants you to translate some of these. I think Eva wants you to translate some of what he said. Whilst we're waiting for more translation, I'm afraid there are engineers who will never accept that a machine cannot work, especially a German engineer, an Austrian engineer. They will always insist that they can perfect the machine by adding another machine and another machine and another machine. What I've tried to communicate tonight is that that approach of perfecting the machine does not make sense, because your machines are destroying resources. It's a bad idea. It's not that the incinerators in Austria and Germany and Switzerland are not working well and that they've got better. That's not the point. They're doing something essentially stupid. I'm sorry. The solution to waste is not a technological problem. It's a problem of organization, education, and better industrial design. That's what it's all about. And if Austria can do that, fine. But to suggest that we have to burn waste in a cement kiln because Austria can do it safely is missing the point. That might have worked in the 20th century, but not in the 21st century. We redesign those products. That's the long-term agenda. It's not going to be quick. But the good news is that every time you start to redesign products, you're going to create more jobs. This is the future. The future of industry is the developing of sustainable practices, sustainable products. That's the future. The future is not devising better ways to destroy the materials. The future is in better design, designing for the 21st century. And to talk about the pollution from cars, of course there's pollution from cars, but burning hazardous waste or waste in a cement kiln or an incinerator is not an alternative to the cars. We've got that as a problem, that we need to improve the cars, better design of cars, or better still, a better design of society so that we don't need cars. Design your towns better so you don't design. And whilst we're talking about other things that we can do, if you're concerned about pollution, don't smoke. Don't smoke. I mean, I am so sickened of working with activists who are fighting incinerators, and they smoke and smoke and smoke. They're putting more toxics into their body than the cement kiln is putting in. Now, they're not putting toxics into the food. That's true. But they're putting and what pisses me off is when an activist drives me in his car and starts smoking, so I have to smoke his toxics. And young people smoking, it is so disgusting. Tell them, grow up. You're poisoning yourself. And what have we got in our society? We got very, very clever people in advertising who makes these kids believe that smoking these cigarettes is going to get them beautiful women, fast cars, everything imaginable. As long as you smoke the cigarettes and drink the bloody Coca-Cola. It's the whole seduction of our people. We have to fight all of this. So if you've got a way of improving your own health, well, the first thing to do is stop smoking. I know it's tough. I know it's tough because my wife was a smoker. My wife was a smoker, and she could not stop smoking until one day on a trip coming back from Italy, we arrived in the airport. It was very, very cold. We had no heating in the car, and by the time she got home, she got pneumonia. And she was in a terrible state, and she hasn't smoked since. She has not smoked since. When she was close, she felt she was close to death. And that's what it took for my wife to stop smoking. She had to be reduced almost to death before she would stop this stupid habit. And I tried everything. You know, I would say, you know, make sure you live to see your grandchildren. She has. Instead of smoking, let's have sex. Every time you want to smoke, let's have sex instead. You know, that's creative, right? That's creative. We need creativity. But another thing is, a Chamber of Commerce and the others, a threatened community is a strengthened community. A threatened community is a strengthened community if you come together. Old and young together, rich and poor together, in America, black and white together. If you come together as a community to fight whatever proposal, at the end of the day, you will be a stronger community than before. And then you've got to use that negative energy of saying no to produce positive energy to get the good solutions in your community. The lady, what about these ladies down here? They've been waiting forever. Okay. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Dear Professor, thank you for coming to Volos. Congratulations for your presentation. The first 5 minutes that you've talked, I decided to commit suicide. The other 10 minutes, I decided to change town and live somewhere else. I'm a mother. I'm responsible for my little son. I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'm responsible for my students.
Yes.
Thank God, I don't smoke first. Secondly, we are running a project with our students about recycling. Yes. It's a whole year program. We're going to put our little students, our little pupils, this, what is called recycling.
Yes.
Anyway, first of all, it's not a question, it's a rhetorical question. After having in mind that I have to live somewhere else than in the dump town, such as Volos, I have just thought that Larissa, Karditsa, Trikala, even if Athens, are also polluted by all the pollution that happens in Volos. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, we are not alone at this moment. In this classroom, sadly, we are about 100 people or more. We have next time to call Karditsa, Larissa, Trikala, and other cities that must be with us. We are not alone.
No.
We are not the dump town.
No.
We are the atom bomb that is going to explode and going to affect other cities as well. Yeah. So, even if I live, and we all live in a corrupted country with corrupted politicians, we can all help this white or gray cloud that I can see from my window at night being vanished. Is that right? And what it is exactly, that I live in the suburbs of Volos, and every night I see a white cloud out of my window that is having Volos down from my eyes. What it is exactly with chemical substances. I know it's pollution. Mm-hmm. But actually my question is an invitation to all the other cities, all the other people, all the other teachers, experts, plain citizens, to come with us. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for being a school teacher. You say you're encouraging your children to get into recycling. That is excellent. But one of the things I think the children should do is compost. From the very beginning, learn how to make compost and learn the cycle, nature's cycle of food, compost, food, compost. And one of the things I would do to the child, on the first day the child goes to school, they should be given a seed, and put that seed into a pot, and then see what it becomes when it's nurtured with water and so on. So they, from the very beginning, they see life in growth and what it takes to keep the growth going. That, to me, is where it should begin. And one of the very inspiring stories that I heard in the United States was from the San Francisco prison system. And before the prisoners were released, for about a year, they were put into market gardening. They were put into growing lettuces and whatever in the garden. And the recidivist rate from this prison was excellent. When these prisoners got out, they didn't come back, not too many of them. And when the person that organized this program in the prison was asked about it, she said, it's very moving. Many of these prisoners had never nurtured anything. Many of them, as kids, were in concrete jungles, into gangs, didn't get married, and before they knew where they were in prison. Concrete, steel, prison. And when this simple act of having to grow lettuces allowed them to nurture something for the first time in their lives, that they had to make sure that these lettuces did not die. And it was very meaningful, very meaningful. It's hard to believe that something as simple as growing lettuces became a very humanizing thing. And we forget that some people never connect to the earth, never experience that. And why should we expect these people to be happy and law-abiding? They need nurturing. We all need nurturing. We all need friends. We all need love and so on. I have a nice little... So I was involved in the Vietnam peace movement. We had a wonderful slogan, make love, not war. Now we have a war on waste. So the slogan becomes, make love, not waste. Now, as you get older, that gets more difficult. So I've tamed it down a bit. Make friends, not waste. Make friends, not waste. And we can do that. You're doing it tonight. Some of you will become very close friends. You haven't met each other yet, but you will become very close friends. But in the reuse and repair centers, you will make friends. And that's what we need, because America has tricked the world with its philosophy. You know what the American philosophy is? The more you consume, the happier you become. That is the American philosophy, and we've exported it to the whole world. It's a complete myth. The more you consume, you don't get happier, you get fatter. And you make more waste. That's the reality. So what is the fight against, how do you win the battle against overconsumption? Life is not about collecting objects. Life is about building relationships. And we need to find ways, especially in our anonymous city, of creating relationships. The more friends you have, the happier you become. And that's what we got to get across. And we got to teach our young people, they have to see that if you look to the future, we're going to have to consume far less. So what we have to say, it's not about standard of living, it's about quality of life. Quality of life. So the planet as a whole, you have to consume less materials, but increase the quality of life. That's the challenge for our young people in the future. How do you consume less and yet become happier? What activities can you come up with which don't involve too much consumption but are very happy? Obviously, dancing, music, parties, and so on. You consume less but get happier. And as far as the message, often in America, the message is, at university, I taught at university, the message is, work hard, get good marks in your exams so that you can get a good job and earn lots of money and buy everything that you want. That's the message to our young people. And I say, work hard, get good grades so that you can get a job that gives you meaning. We need meaning more than we need money. Yes, you need a little bit of money, but not like Trump and these bloody billionaires who just want money, money. $1 billion is not enough. I want 2. I want 4. I want 10. Oh, vomit. Yeah, friends. Yes. Yes, okay. I think...
Μπορώ τώρα.
Good.
Λοιπόν, θέλω να σταθώ λίγο στο κομμάτι της επαναχρησιμοποίησης, κάτι που έχω πολύ προσωπική εμπειρία. Δεκαετία του 70 ήμουν στο Καναδά. Τότε δεν υπήρχε ούτε κρίση, ούτε θέμα εργασιών και χρημάτων. Λοιπόν, οι περισσότεροι Καναδοί και εμείς οι Έλληνες οι μετανάστες αγοράζαμε από αυτά που είπατε. Υπήρχαν μεγάλες μάντρες που πηγαίναμε και παίρναμε από ένα πορτατίφ μέχρι ένα ρολόι. Ερχόμενοι στην Ελλάδα, Το 2009, εδώ στο Βόλο, ξεκινήσαμε το δίκτυο ανταλλαγών και αλληλεγγύης, το γνωστό ΤΕΜ δηλαδή τοπική εναλλακτική μονάδα. Λοιπόν, είχε μία άνοδο πολύ. Δυστυχώς, ο κόσμος δεν ανταποκρίνεται στο επαναχρησιμοποιημένο, στο να το δώσουν και πιο πολύ περισσότερο να έρθουν να το πάρουν. Εδώ και 1,5 χρόνο, εμείς είμαστε μια ομάδα η Κουζίνα Αλληλεγγύης Βόλου, έχουμε πάρα πολλά πράγματα και δημιουργήσαμε πάλι ένα παζάρι, μια φορά το μήνα, ο καθένας να φέρνει πράγματα στον πάγκο του και να τα πουλάει, γιατί με τις μονάδες θεωρήσαμε ότι δεν είναι εφικτό, μήπως είναι καλύτερα με χρήματα. Παρ' όλα αυτά, και γι' αυτό κάνω και κάλεσμα, πολύ λίγοι έρχονται. Είναι κάτι το οποίο μπορεί να βρει ο άλλος θησαυρό. Και οι περισσότεροι που είχαμε μεγαλύτερα σπίτια και είχαμε 5 πορτατίβ, τώρα πήγαμε σε μικρότερα και έχουμε 2 να χρησιμοποιήσουμε. Τα άλλα 3 μπορούμε να τα δώσουμε. Λοιπόν, κολλάμε στο θέμα το φορολογικό. Το θέμα το οργανωτικό που είναι η κοινωνία και φυσικά και τα καταστήματα δεν το βλέπουν με καλό μάτι. Και από τη μια τους καταλαβαίνω, αλλά από την άλλη τους λέω ότι αν πουλήσουμε εγώ προσωπικά ένα πορτατίβ, θα έρθω να πάρω μια μπλούζα που δεν θα βρω εκεί ή θα πάρω κάτι άλλο. Είναι πάρα πολύ καλό, μια και βρίσκομαι εδώ και το τονίσατε, κάνω ένα κάλεσμα, να έρθουν να το στηρίξουν αυτό και σιγά σιγά μαζί με τα άλλα που προτείνατε, και αυτό είναι κάτι καλό. Εμείς βέβαια σαν ομάδα κάνουμε ανακύκλωση σε καπάκια, σε τηγανόλαδο, σε χαρτί. Μου φέρνουν πάρα πολλά ρούχα, τα χαρίζω, έχω βάλει μες στο ίντερνετ σε ομάδες, δεν έρχονται να τα πάρουν. Και σκέφτηκα μήπως αν τα πουλήσω, γιατί άμα χαρίζεις κάτι δεν το θέλει ο άλλος, γιατί είπατε για τα ρούχα πριν. Μήπως αν τα πουλήσω, έχω περισσότερη κίνηση. Έστω με ένα μηδενικό ποσό. Αλλά και αυτό πάλι κολλάει στο φορολογικό κομμάτι. Είναι πολύ δύσκολα ό,τι αφορά εδώ, τουλάχιστον στην Ελλάδα. Καλά είναι όλοι μαζί να το παλέψουμε βέβαια.
Yeah, you know, when I was a kid, I had one pen, a fountain pen, one pen. And if anything happened to that pen, I was in trouble. I'd have to go to my parents and say, I'm sorry, Mom, that the pen is broken. I need a new pen. And my mother would have to work out whether she had enough money to buy another pen. Now, our kids just go into a shop and get 100 pens. And they use them and then throw them away. It's all throw away. It's all a product of the plastics industry. Just buy and throw away. There's no respect. There's no respect for objects anymore. There's so many of them, they're so cheap, they're plastic. When they're finished, you can throw them. But now we're realizing that a lot of these plastic things are ending up in the oceans. And for example, one of the things, the shocking thing, is the albatross in the Pacific. The albatross flies thousands of miles in the Pacific. And it's looking for food. And it takes the food from the sea and takes it back to its nesting grounds, regurgitates the food to its babies. But now, instead of catching cuttlefish, fish, it's collecting plastic bottle tops. And it's regurgitating plastic bottle tops to the baby albatrosses, and now they're finding young albatrosses with their stomachs full of plastic. And so we're paying a huge price for this cheap, throwaway plastics. But I think a lot of people have woken up to that problem. But it's all part of this zero waste approach. We've got to reduce the amount of plastics going into our sea.
Λοιπόν, εγώ να ευχαριστήσω πραγματικά από την καρδιά μου τον ομιλητή, ο οποίος ήταν τόσο εκφραστικός, τόσο πιστικός και τον απόλαυσα γιατί πραγματικά μου έδωσε πολύ μεγάλη ελπίδα. Παράλληλα όμως, μου δημιούργησε ένα τεράστιο ιδεολογικό χάσμα ανάμεσα στην ιδεολογία και στην πράξη. Και αυτό το λέω για ένα πολύ απλό λόγο. επειδή δίπλα από το σπίτι μου και δίπλα από το σπίτι όλων μας, πιστεύω εδώ στο Βόλο, οι κάτοικοι, εμείς οι ίδιοι οι κάτοικοι του Βόλου, που κατηγορούμε την ΑΓΕ, τη χαλιβουργία, την όποια βιομηχανία, αυτή τη στιγμή και με ίδιοι σκουπίδια, στα τζάκια μας, στις σόμπες μας, και δημιουργούμε ένα απίστευτο πρόβλημα. Δηλαδή, μετά τις 7.30 ώρα, εγώ που μένω και προς την άκρη του Βόλου, προς Άναυρο, δεν μπορώ να αναπνεύσω. Δεν μπορώ να βγάλω τα ρούχα μου έξω να τα αερίσω και μέχρι το πρωί είναι ένα φρικτό πρόβλημα. Λοιπόν, αν εμείς οι ίδιοι κάτοικοι δεν κάνουμε κάτι για τα σπίτια μας, για τον εαυτό μας, πόσο μάλλον θα κάνουμε για την ΑΓΕΤ και για οποιοδήποτε άλλο.
Yeah. Yes. I think this is, what you just said is so important. Basically, this cement kiln is doing you a favor. It's shock treatment. It's forcing you to confront a larger issue. Two larger issues. Number one, you're burning your own trash in your backyards, you're producing pollution. That's one issue you've got to look into. The second thing, it's revealing that Greece does not have a good waste management project, and it's forcing you to confront that. So this is what I mean. A threatened community is a strengthened community. So it's going to be difficult. It's not going to be easy, but you have to educate your neighbors, you have to educate your politicians, and you have to get good leadership. And you've got to work with the politicians, I think. You've got to say, look, we're not your enemy. We are your friend. If you lay on the systems for us, we will work for you, not against you. You support this cement kiln, we'll work against you. We'll make your life a misery until you stop. But if you help us get good solutions, we will support you. And this election, within a year and a half, we're looking now for leaders, political leaders, which will stop the cement kiln from burning waste and provide Volos with a good waste system. And it'd be so interesting for politicians to have people working for them. In other words, one of the things which happens is that once the municipalities says, okay, we'll have a door-to-door collection, collect this, that, and the other, the next thing they have to do is to communicate with the public. But you represent a whole army of educators, a whole army that can go out in your community, door to door, and explain to people what they can do, why it is important for the community, and why it's important for the planet. So that's a pretty exciting. They don't have people doing that for them with street cleaning or lampposts or many of the other things, sewers and stuff. It's very rare that politicians are confronted by a large number of citizens who want them to do the right thing and are willing to help. That's good. Yeah, in the back? In there? Okay.
Καλώς ήρθατε στην πόλη μας. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ και εγώ προσωπικά. Είμαι εργαζόμενος στην βιομηχανία της Lafarge, στη μετοβιομηχανία. Ανήκει στη Lafarge Holcim, το γνωρίζετε. Δυστυχώς απόψε είμαι μόνο εγώ από την εταιρεία και σας παρακολουθώ και σας ακούω, ενώ θα έπρεπε να συμβεί το αντίθετο, τα καθίσματα θα έπρεπε να ήταν γεμάτα από τους εργαζόμενους της ΑΓΕΤ, ώστε να αποκτήσουν τη γνώση και την πληροφορία αυτή για να τους δώσει το δικαίωμα της επιλογής απέναντι στο ζήτημα αυτό της καύσης των σκουπιδιών, που έχει ξεκινήσει εδώ και μια τριετία. Το ζήτημα είναι ότι σήμερα έχετε μια άσχημη εμπειρία το ότι δεν εμφανίστηκε καν στο τραπέζι, μάλλον στην μικρή σύσκεψη που είχατε με τους τοπικούς φορείς, το σωματείο των εργαζομένων και κάποιος από τη διεύθυνση του εργοστασίου. Φαντάζομαι ότι αυτό είναι αποτέλεσμα τρόμου ή φόβου από την πλευρά των εργαζομένων. Τέθηκαν τέτοια ερωτήματα σε σχέση με την ανεργία και το δίλημμα ή και με σκουπίδια ή κλείνουν το εργοστάσιο. Αυτό το έχουν πει ευθαρσώς μέσα στο εργοστάσιο. Βέβαια αυτό είναι ένα ψέμα και ένα μύθος, γιατί μέχρι το 2013 δεν έκαιγε σκουπίδια, έκαιγε το petcock και επιβίωνε μια χαρά. Απλά θέλει να κερδοφορήσει περισσότερο και το ζήτημα είναι το κέρδος. Αυτό που ήθελα να ρωτήσω ευθέως είναι από την εμπειρία σας πώς αντιδρούν οι κοινωνίες σε άλλα κράτη της Ευρώπης ή και παγκόσμια μπροστά στα εργοστάσια που καίνε το RDF και μάλιστα σε πολύ μεγαλύτερα ποσοστά από ό,τι θα καεί τώρα προς τη μήνυ και στο μέλλον. Και μάλιστα χώρες όπως είναι οι βόρειες χώρες γνωρίζετε ότι έχουν από ό,τι γνωρίζουμε ένα αίσθημα, μια στάση περιβαλλοντολογική και οικολογική ίσως σε μεγαλύτερο βαθμό από εμάς, εδώ στην Ελλάδα γενικότερα, και δεν μιλάω για τον κόσμο που είναι αυτή τη στιγμή μαζί μας ή που ήταν μαζί μας. Πώς αντιδράει σε αυτό το θέμα της καύσης, τι έκπτωση λόγου έχει σε αυτό το θέμα, τι στάση έχουν τα σωματεία και οι εργαζόμενοι και γενικότερα οι ομοσπονδίες εργαζομένων σε αυτά τα θέματα, γιατί είναι άμεσα οικονομικό το θέμα, είναι άμεσα ταξικό, είναι άμεσα σχέση εργοδότη-εργαζόμενου.
It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. Don't forget, in many of those northern countries like Germany, Netherlands, Scandinavia, they enforce the regulations. And so there's less of a problem because they have strong regulations and they enforce them. So it's less dramatic than in Greece, where you have very weak enforcement. So if I had to live near an incinerator, I would live in Germany. If I had to live near an incinerator, I would live near a German incinerator with strong standards, good monitoring, and strong government enforcement. That if the facility was bad, they would shut it down. They do that in Germany. But before I would say to you is thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, having the courage to speak out, and would remind you and everyone else that the great moments in history do not happen when everybody says yes, but when a few people have the courage, like you, to say no. That's when you get big, big changes. And I suggest you keep talking to your workers in the next meeting, bring a couple of them with you. But we sympathize. This is not easy. I'm not somebody that has to worry about a job. I'm retired. And even when I was teaching, I had a job that was pretty secure. So it's easy for me to say some of the things I say. It's much more difficult. If your whole family depends upon your wages that you bring home and you're living in a time of unemployment, you want to hang on to those jobs. So I don't have bad feelings towards them. But hopefully the change will come from inside the workforce. And we shouldn't be trying to shame these workers at all. We have to keep positive. Keep positive. And I like to say that as far as this whole zero waste strategy, it's better for the economy because it produces more jobs. It's better for our health because it produces less toxics. It's better for our universities because it gives our professors more meaning to work towards a sustainable future. It's better for the planet because it's more sustainable. But the last thing, it's better for our children because we give them more hope. This program gives our children more hope. And I want you to think for a moment, when I was 13, 14, 15, I wasn't watching television every night. We hardly had any televisions then. I wasn't watching television every night, which kept telling me the problems of global warming, ozone damage, the elimination of forests, the extinction of species, the plastics in the ocean, the children dying of cancer. I was not getting all these messages and interpreted what you could interpret from this avalanche of negativity on our children is that they're going to say, there's no future. They're listening to everything you're telling me, there is no future. And we cannot allow that to happen to our children. They must believe that there is a future. They must believe in hope. They have to hope. And when I consciously devised something which would start with everyone and build up from this little thing of separating, just separating the stinky stuff from the recyclables, from the just separating here, going up step by step by step by step to a sustainable solution for the whole planet. It's a program which starts with the little things, but includes our brightest minds. And it produces a plan for the future, a vision. We need a vision of the future.
Αντέχει για μια τελευταία ερώτηση.
Yes, of course I can.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ που ήρθατε εδώ.
Oh yeah, I see you. Okay.
Εγώ προσωπικά σας ευχαριστώ για τα μηνύματα που μου δώσατε και κυρίως αυτό που εισέπραξα εγώ όλη την ώρα για την προσωπική ευθύνη του καθένα μας να διαμορφώσει στο βαθμό που μπορεί, όσο μπορεί, την ποιότητα ζωής και καθημερινότητας που θέλει να έχει. Αρκετά ρομαντικό, αλλά εμένα μου δίνει αισιοδοξία αυτό, ότι εμείς πρέπει να αγωνιστούμε για την παραμικρή αλλαγή και δεν θα την περιμένουμε από αυτούς που κυνηγούν το κέρδος. Και ήθελα να ρωτήσω πιο πολύ σε αυτό, αν μπορεί να μας πει κάποια πράγματα, στις δράσεις που έγιναν στις πόλεις ή στις χώρες που είπε ότι μειώθηκαν τα σκουπίδια 50 και 70 και 90%, γιατί εγώ σαν παιδί έζησα σε μία εποχή και σε μία πόλη και σε ένα σπίτι που δεν είχαμε σκουπίδια. Δεν ξέρω πώς γινόταν αυτό το θαύμα, δηλαδή ξέρω γιατί πηγαίναν είτε στον κήπο είτε στα ζώα, τα οικόσιτα που είχαμε, είτε, εν πάση περιπτώσει, αυτό ήταν η διανομή που γινόταν, το ξεκαθάρισμα, η διαχείριση των σκουπιδιών του σπιτιού, αλλά δεν είχαμε και αμπαλάζ. Την εποχή εκείνη δεν υπήρχε ούτε πλαστικό, ούτε χάρτινο αμπαλάζ και δεν υπήρχε, δηλαδή τώρα, αν συγκρίνεις τα σκουπίδια, είναι πολύ λιγότερα από τα ανακυκλώσιμα που βάζουμε στη σακούλα για ανακύκλωση. Λοιπόν, αυτό το αμπαλάζ, πώς μπορεί να επηρεαστούν βιομηχανίες, βιοτεχνίες, έμποροι, τέλος πάντων, να μην πρημοδοτούν και τέλος πάντων προωθούν τόσο πολύ. Ο πατέρας μου ήταν έμπορος, πουλούσε παπούτσια, τα τύλιγε σε ένα χαρτί και τα βάζε ο άνθρωπος στη σακούλα. Τελευταία εδώ έγινε η απαγόρευση, όχι απαγόρευση, κοστολόγησαν, πληρώνουμε την πλαστική σακούλα και έχουν κοστεί διάφορα φεδρά. Είναι τόσο φοβερό, ας αρχίσουμε από αυτό, από τον εαυτό μας, να έχουμε μία τσάντα την οποία να επαναχρησιμοποιούμε. Αυτή η επαναχρησιμοποίηση μου φαίνεται πάρα πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα και αν έχει να μας προτείνει και άλλες δράσεις για αυτή τη μείωση των σκουπιδιών. Δεν νομίζω ότι υπάρχουν άλλες λύσεις πολλές.
Yes, this is very good. This is very good. First of all, we need all kinds of responsibilities. We need individual responsibility. We need community responsibility. We need industrial responsibility. We need academic responsibility. We need political responsibility. We are confronted with the biggest change on our planet since the Industrial Revolution. Going from a linear economy to a circular economy, which we have to do for survival, is going to be the most difficult thing that we've ever tried to do. We need as many people involved as possible. I've been excited tonight to hear some of the Chamber of Commerce. Yes, That's fantastic. That's a good start. We have workers from the factory. Yes, that's good. We have ordinary citizens looking at their past and seeing that it's possible. We have school teachers, really, really critical. And sometimes people make the mistakes. They say, oh, we need a sustainable society. We must get experts on sustainability. No, no. Because if you have experts on sustainability, they take all the responsibility. You're the expert on sustainability. You get us out of this mess. No. In every university, each discipline, whether it's engineering, economics, advertising, whatever discipline in the university, they have to say, how do we, in our discipline, relate to sustainability? How do architects relate to sustainability? How do farmers relate to sustainability? Every discipline, we all have to become experts on sustainability. That is called responsibility, individual responsibility. And if you do it together, it can be exciting. I say there's 4 C's. There's 4 C's we need to support the 4 R's. The 4 R's: reduce, reuse, recycle, compost, and redesign. And the 4 C's that make this possible are community, developing more community development. Secondly, creativity. We need creativity. And we need children. And lastly, we need communication. And the last one, activists are not too good at the communication, or at least not in the sense I see it. When we have a success, when a local community does something and it's good and it works and they've thought of it, it's new, or a corporation does something very good. By the way, there's some companies out there which are way ahead of us with zero waste because it's saving them money. People that make copying machines, TVs, cars, etc., they know that reusing their products, taking back their products and repairing them, reusing them and so on, saves them a huge amount of money. So when we get success, we have to videotape it. We have to videotape it, whatever it is. That school teacher, if you get your children composting and growing their own food, you need to videotape that. You need to interview them, see how they feel about this. And then once you've got it on videotape, you post it on the internet. So we can take advantage of this incredible technology, incredible technology. When I started with my wife in '85, how did we communicate? We wrote a weekly newspaper. It was called Waste Not. A weekly newspaper. We had to type it. We had to correct it with the fluid, you know, that white stuff. Then we had to reproduce it. And then we had to fold it and put it into envelopes. And then we had to address each envelope, put the stamps on, take it to the post office. And that would take 2 or 3 days of each week to get this out. And today, you write your message, push a button, it's all over the world. And it's practically free, right? This is incredible. And activist groups are taking advantage of that. But what we're not doing enough is to recognize that when we get a good idea, when something works, we capture it and put it on the internet, and it's shared with the whole world. So a victory, one little victory in this one little community, can be the beginning of that victory all over the world. It is so exciting to know that we have a technology which allows us to spread success. We get the success and we spread it. So it's exciting, and the technology of videotaping is incredible, cameras and so on. Oh.
Paul, we really thank you for all this, because you didn't give us only information, you gave us hope. There is a hope, we need all this, And first of all, we can see your efforts, and we admire all this. That's why we want, as a committee, to give you a present for all of these efforts and your contribution to our fight against this waste management.
Oh,
and
I'm so glad it's small. People give me bottles of wine, I can't carry it.
Don't worry. It is a mythical person.
Mythical?
Don't worry, yes. It is Kentavros, named Kentavros.
Centaur.
Yes.
Centaur. The centaur.
Horse. Oh, it's a centaur. Yes, okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much.
And it can be
It is a good person. Never smoke.
Yeah.
It has made no waste, never. And believe in this, zero waste.
Oh, the centaur did?
Yes, yes.
Oh, that's
Into the box, there is a card with some information about this person.
Thank you
for
very, very much.
We are very grateful about all you make today for us. Okay?
Well,
I want to...
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Look, your thank you to me is being here, laughing at my jokes, and listening, and giving me hope. You know, each new community that gets involved with this gives us hope.
Yes.
By the way,
yes, it's all
excuse me, by the way, I loved your song very much.
I can't sing in public. I cannot sing any other song. But I've sung this song now in 66 different countries. It's the only song that I can sing in public. Isn't that crazy? And anyway.
So, Paul, we're really looking forward to see you again and to see a personal debate with the scientists from the other side of these arguments.
Absolutely.
Σας ευχαριστούμε πολύ για την παρουσία σας σήμερα.
Hey, there's one more, if I might, there's just one more thing I would like to share with you. When I was 12 years old, my Latin teacher told us something, the class. He said, the best definition of an educated person is someone who can entertain his or herself, entertain a friend, and entertain a new idea. And it is that last sentence, the entertaining a new idea, which defines an open mind. It's so critical. So a lot of people that came today came with this open mind. And if you believe that definition is a good one, it tells you that some people with big degrees, teaching at university, are not educated because they've got a closed mind. They won't listen to any new information. And it also means that some people who've never been near a university are highly educated because they've kept their minds open the mind. It's very, very important.
Σας ευχαριστούμε για την παρουσία σας. Θα βγει δελτίο τύπου από τη σημερινή διάλεξη του καθηγητή και όλα τα στοιχεία στο blog. Επίσης, να υπενθυμίσω ξανά ότι υπάρχει το κουτί οικονομικής ενίσχυσης, γιατί τα εισιτήρια όλα αυτά ήταν έξοδα τα οποία πληρώνονται από τις τσέπες μας, από τις τσέπες όλων, και πραγματικά θα μας βοηθούσε η συνεισφορά σας. Οπότε, σας περιμένουμε επίσης και στην επόμενη συνέλευση της Επιτροπής.